Blackwater Lake was a place that locals spoke of only in whispers. Tucked deep within the dense forests of northern Maine, the lake was a black mirror, reflecting the tangled trees and the ever-present mist that clung to its surface. No birds sang there, no fish broke the water's surface, and no one who valued their peace of mind dared to visit after sunset. For decades, the lake had been the subject of rumors and ghost stories. Some said it was cursed. Others claimed it was haunted by the spirits of those who had drowned in its icy depths. The most persistent tale was that of the silence, a suffocating, unnatural quiet that would descend without warning, swallowing all sound and leaving only the frantic beating of your own heart. Those who experienced it never spoke of what they saw or heard during those moments, but their eyes told stories of terror. When Evelyn Carter, a young journalist from Boston, received a cryptic letter from her estranged uncle, one of the lake's last remaining residents, she dismissed it as the ramblings of an old man. But when the letter ended with a desperate plea for help and a warning, "Don't trust the silence," Evelyn's curiosity was piqued. With her career at a standstill and her personal life in shambles, she decided to visit Blackwater Lake, hoping to find a story that would revive her reputation. What she found was far more than a story. It was a nightmare waiting to be awakened. Evelyn Carter's car rumbled over the cracked, winding road that led deeper into the Maine woods. The GPS had lost its signal miles ago, and the only guidance she had was her uncle's hand-drawn map, creased and smudged from years of use. The trees pressed in on either side, their branches arching overhead to form a tunnel of green and shadow. The air was thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, and the only sound was the crunch of gravel beneath her tires. She glanced at the letter on the passenger seat. The words burned into her mind. "Oh, Evelyn, I need you. Something is wrong here. Don't trust the silence. Please come before it's too late." Her uncle, Thomas Carter, had always been a solitary man. After her aunt's death, he'd retreated to the old family cabin by Blackwater Lake, rarely venturing into town. Evelyn hadn't seen him in over a decade, but the urgency in his letter had unsettled her. She told herself she was here for the story, but deep down, she knew it was more than that. She owed him. Maybe she owed herself too. The road ended abruptly at a rusted metal gate, half swallowed by weeds. Beyond it, a narrow path led down to the lake, its surface barely visible through the trees. Evelyn parked the car, grabbed her bag, and pushed open the gate. It groaned in protest, the sound echoing unnaturally in the stillness. As she walked, the silence grew heavier. No birds, no insects, not even the wind. Just the soft thud of her boots on the mossy ground and the distant, rhythmic pounding of her heart. She shivered, pulling her jacket tighter around her. The cabin appeared suddenly, hunched at the edge of the water like a wounded animal. Its windows were dark, the porch sagging under the weight of years. Evelyn hesitated, then knocked on the door. No answer. She tried again, louder this time. Uncle Thomas, it's Evelyn. I got your letter. Still nothing. She tried the handle. The door creaked open, revealing a dim, cluttered interior. Dust motes danced in the slanting light. The air smelled of old wood and something else, something metallic and sharp. Uncle Thomas, she called, stepping inside. The living room was a chaos of books, papers, and empty coffee cups. Maps of the lake were pinned to the walls, covered in frantic notes and red circles. A battered tape recorder sat on the table, surrounded by a pile of cassettes. Evelyn's eyes were drawn to a photograph on the mantel. Her uncle, younger and smiling, with her aunt beside him. She felt a pang of guilt for staying away so long. She moved through the cabin, calling his name. The bedroom was empty, the bed unmade. The bathroom door was ajar, the sink stained with rust. In the kitchen, a pot of coffee sat cold on the stove, a mug half full beside it. Evelyn's unease grew. The silence pressed in, thick and suffocating. She stepped out onto the back porch, hoping to spot her uncle by the lake. The water was black and still, reflecting the sky like a sheet of obsidian. Mist curled along the surface, hiding the far shore. A sudden movement caught her eye. A figure standing at the edge of the dock, staring out at the water. Relief flooded her. Uncle Thomas, she called, hurrying down the steps. The figure didn't move. As she drew closer, she saw it was a man, tall and thin, his shoulders hunched. He wore a faded flannel shirt and jeans, his hair wild and unkempt. Uncle, she said softly, reaching out to touch his arm. He flinched, turning to face her. His eyes were bloodshot, ringed with dark circles. He looked older. Then she remembered, his face gaunt and haunted. Evelyn, he rasped, you shouldn't have come. She forced a smile. You asked me to. What's going on? Are you all right? He shook his head, glancing nervously at the lake. It's not safe here, not anymore. The silence, it's getting worse. Evelyn frowned. What do you mean? What silence? He gripped her arm, his fingers digging into her skin. You have to listen to me. If you hear it, if everything goes quiet, you have to get inside. Lock the doors. Don't look at the water. Don't listen to the voices. She tried to pull away, but his grip tightened. Uncle, you're scaring me. He released her suddenly, stumbling back. I'm sorry, I can't leave. Not yet. I have to find out what it wants. Evelyn studied him, worry gnawing at her. Why did you call me here? He looked at her, his eyes desperate. Because I need someone to believe me, and because I'm afraid I won't make it much longer. A chill ran down her spine. She glanced at the lake, its surface unbroken and silent. For a moment she thought she saw something moving beneath the water, a pale shape, gone in an instant. She turned back to her uncle, but he was already heading up the path toward the cabin, muttering to himself. Evelyn hesitated, then followed, the silence pressing in around her like a living thing. The cabin felt colder as the sun dipped behind the trees, shadows stretching long and thin across the floorboards. Evelyn unpacked her bag in the small guest room, her mind replaying her uncle's words. Don't look at the water. Don't listen to the voices. She tried to laugh it off, but the unease lingered, coiling in her stomach. She found Thomas in the living room, hunched over the table, sorting through a pile of cassette tapes. He barely looked up as she entered. "Uncle, do you want to talk about what's going on?" she asked gently. He shook his head, pushing a tape into the recorder. "You need to hear it for yourself." He pressed play. The tape hissed, then crackled to life. At first there was only the sound of wind and the distant creak of the dock. Then abruptly everything went silent. The absence of sound was so complete, so unnatural that Evelyn felt her skin crawl. She glanced at her uncle, who stared at the recorder with haunted eyes. A faint, wet whisper slithered through the silence. It was impossible to tell if it was a voice or just the wind, but it made Evelyn's heart race. Come closer." The tape ended with a sharp click. Thomas ejected it, his hands shaking. "I recorded that 2 nights ago," he said. "It happens almost every night now. The silence comes and then the voices. Sometimes I see things too, shapes in the water, faces at the window." Evelyn tried to steady her voice. "Have you told anyone else?" He laughed bitterly. "The sheriff thinks I'm crazy. The townsfolk avoid this place. They say the lake's always been cursed, ever since the old mill burned down. But it's getting worse." "Oh, Evelyn, it's spreading." She looked at the maps on the wall, the red circles growing outward from the lake's center. "What do you think it is?" Thomas hesitated, then lowered his voice. "I think something's trapped here, something old. It feeds on the quiet, on the people who come too close. I've seen it just under the surface. It's waiting." Evelyn shivered. "Why stay? Why not leave?" He looked at her, his eyes hollow. "Because your aunt is still here. I hear her voice in the silence. She calls to me. I can't leave her behind." Evelyn's breath caught. "Uncle, Aunt May died years ago." He nodded, tears glinting in his eyes. "I know, but she's here. I hear her every night. A heavy silence settled between them. Evelyn reached out, squeezing his hand. I'll help you, Uncle. We'll figure this out together. He managed a weak smile. Thank you, Evie. That night, Evelyn lay awake in the guest room, listening to the creaks and groans of the old cabin. The darkness outside pressed,